Joining a new company is often a super stimulating challenge, and the onboarding process plays a very important role in making the most of the experience. Today, I'm happy to welcome two guests to discuss about onboarding, and not just any guests. Louise, who leads the employee experience at Thales, and Lionnel, who joined Thales just a few months ago. But before I give my guest a proper welcome, jingle. Welcome to Say Hi to Your Career, the Thales podcast that helps you make the right career choices. In each episode, my guest and I provide you our best advice to help you succeed in your career. I'm Guillaume Couder and I'm very happy to welcome you on this new episode. Hi Louise, hi Lionnel. I'm very happy to welcome you on this new podcast episode to talk about a very interesting topic, onboarding. Louise, you are Global Employee Experience Director at Thales. And Lionnel, you are Flights Engineering Delivery Manager. So my first question would be for you, Louise, if you accept.
Yes. Hey, everyone. How you doing?
Happy to be with you. So what is exactly an onboarding process? What is it for?
That's a good question. So ultimately, when we have someone join Thales, a new employee, we put in our best efforts to enable a positive onboarding experience, ultimately meaning supporting the new starter on their journey to get to know the organization. So Thales as a group, also their individual business line or GBU they might be part of, because that's also a bit more than what we cover from a group perspective. And ultimately, it's familiarization with us as an organization. It's familiarization with your processes in regards to getting started from the tech to phone to any applications. For example, if you're in engineering and our processes, of course, it's meeting your manager and your team, understanding your environment and your site. So ultimately, making you feel comfortable being part of the organization, and enabling a positive experience, joining quite a large organization. So that's sort of in a nutshell what we do from an onboarding perspective.
Okay, so I understand it's to know about everything about the company to be comfortable. Lionnel, maybe I have a question for you. Like you joined Thales a few months ago. How did you feel about your integration? How was it? Did you feel comfortable?
Hi, everybody. Yes, thank you, Guillaume. Yes, I feel very comfortable. I just joined a few months ago in April, and it was a new start. I was in another company, big company, just before, but you have to reset all your habits and markers. So it's a real challenge, and you are restarting from the beginning, and you need to discover everything and to relearn everything. So it's important to have something to ease your onboarding, to allow you to quickly retrieve your different markers, to be as efficient as possible and as soon as possible. So there is a real challenge here for newcomers just arriving from school, and also for more experimented people, because it's a new start, and it's always a bit difficult to reset everything and to relearn from start.
Okay, and if we talk especially about your experience, how was it? How was this day or this week? I don't know how long it lasts.
You have different state, because it started months before. It started with a signature to say, yes, I'm joining Thales. We agree all together to go forward. But after that, you have the waiting period before, months before the first day. And it's also part for me of the onboarding, because you have some period where you need some feedback from the company to prepare yourself and be ready for the D1. So there is not only D1, but the preparation and the D1, and after the days after also to cover the whole process. So for each stage, you're waiting some information of kind of interaction, not at the same pace, not for the same kind of material, but you need some feedback and interaction to keep the connection between the company and yourself. to ease and prepare the onboarding.
Okay.
Sorry, just to jump in, certainly we try to support our managers at the outset prior to our new starters coming on board to ensure that they have, a level of contact and engagement, because we know sometimes by signing the contract before you start can be a couple of months. So it's really making sure that people feel listened to and have a smooth integration even prior to starting.
So it begins a couple of months before the real integration, like physically. And when does it end? Maybe it never ends. I don't know.
That's a good point. Ultimately, given the complexity and the size of the organization, I think it also depends on the role. Of course, you get to know your business line or GBU, you get to know your team and your scope of work, your customers. But ultimately, we're a diverse organization. So I would say, even if you've been here for 5 years, there will not be a day where you don't go, oh, I've learned something new, I've uncovered something new. So we certainly want to make sure that the first 6 months, we really have more intensive time to help our people to sort of get on board, to help efficiency and integration. But then exploring the group, exploring the opportunities, the way we do things, and also our products, clients and customers, I think that's definitely an ongoing process. So when you speak to people who have been here for 5 years, they'll be telling you there's still new things to learn every day.
You said like it could be different from one office to another one. Even in one company, you can have different onboarding process.
Absolutely. So we have a group onboarding process. Our new starters are individuals to onboard into the group. So we do that through e-learning, and we do that through like a welcome convention with the XCOM, where we have a live stream for individuals to hear from the XCOM directly who we are and enable them to ask questions. But that's at the group level. But we have, and I think Lionnel, I'm sure you can give a really good example. We have a GBU, which is called LAS. And within LAS, we've got AMS, and Lionnel would have had a very thorough experience, I hope, in regards to having an onboarding experience with AMS as the business line.
Lionnel, maybe?
You have a different level of immersion, and you need different level of information during your onboarding. You have information coming for the global group, from the company level, to understand the culture, the values of the company, the vision, the mission of the company. But after you're digging in the division and more local part, the site, with different rules depending on the site. And after you have the project level also, the organization level. So you have different level of onboarding of different kind of information. So that's why it's a part is really specific to your local area, and some other are more general. So it depends for sure. Depending on where you're attending.
Okay, yes, very, very interesting. And we talk a lot about culture now in the work world. And how were you able to discover the culture of Thales, Lionnel, maybe with e-learnings or with meetings? I don't know. What were the tools?
You have e-learning. I think one of the best experience so far during my onboarding was welcome days, because it's part of a process. It's important. You met some people, some experienced people in the company sharing their values and the drivers of the company, and you're also meeting other newcomers, so you can share with all mix of experience inside the company, and to really focus on the way the company is going. And it's important to have this kind of elements, so you can also take benefit of it. I have a better understanding of the other project or kind of information you grab from the Thales, the big company as a whole. So for me, it's a really a key part of the process of the onboarding process to have this part of the welcome days, and to have all this information, even if sometimes you could have some difficulties to absorb everything and to say, okay, I will take it. I will take it for later. But it's part of the sharing inside the company.
I come back to you, Louise. Is it important to share the culture? Yes, it's something very important in an onboarding process.
Absolutely, because we want to make sure our new joiners understand, what to expect from us. So in regards to the way we work and how we work, and how we work with each other. So super, super important. And that sort of also fits in with the fact that we kind of, well, we are set up in a matrix, so kind of like a matrix in a matrix in a matrix. When we have our new joiners, it's really important that there's sort of that we can explain and familiarize our new joiners in how their individual function or business unit sort of operates in this matrix. And that takes a little bit of time sort of to sort of explain and for people sort of get their head around it, because it is complex. But then that really helps you to understand what you can expect coming from different functions, or when you have interactions across the organization, like who belongs where and who interacts with whom. Particularly important because we want to make sure that people know when they need support, advice, assistance, like how do you go about that, because just of the size and the complexity of the organization.
And it's important, I think, to give meaning to people so they understand why they are doing things. And at all level, it's really important for all your activities. When you're developers, you need to understand why you are developing this line of code, what is the purpose of that. And it's true also when you're in a project to understand why you're working in that project. And it's part of a whole, and why the company is doing this kind of project and other project. And it's part of the meaning and the why you are here at a daily basis.
Mm-hmm. And Lionnel, can we say now you feel fully on board at Thales, or you still continue to learn a lot about the company, about the process, about the tools, about your colleagues, probably? I think we never stop to learn, no?
No, you never start to learn, for sure. Each day you are more and more comfortable, but you still have a lot to learn, because you have different level of information to grab. And at the beginning, you are really focused on your project, why you are here at the beginning, people expect from you. So you need to be as efficient as possible and the quickest as possible. So it's a bit tricky, and you also learning and day after day. So it's continuous improvement to grow in the company and to put some priority, and to say this part I will begin it but later, because I have priority here, and so day after day it's better, but it's far from finished at the time being.
Okay. So, for example, I am Guillaume. I will be hired in Thales, so it's very nice. It's a good news. I will be the new employee, the new joiner. What do I have to know about the integration process? How can I prepare before joining the company? Even if I'm at home, because I don't know, maybe now I'm in Paris, I will work in Toulouse as you, Lionnel. What do I have to know to prepare myself the best?
It's a really good question. Be prepared that when you join from day one, that you are comfortable to ask lots of questions. Just be in exploration mode and ask lots of questions. You do that prior to your day one, but also on day one, ask all the questions. That's one of the awesome things, is everyone's always really happy to share, to give advice, help people to understand. So that would be my key pieces. Be prepared to ask lots of questions.
So it's a good quality to be curious?
Yes, absolutely.
Because sometimes, to be too curious, it's not very good. But yes, for a company, it's very good to ask questions.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm sure Lionnel can share also about this. For example, we do love acronyms, and sometimes I feel like people speak in acronyms.
Yes, I know that.
So, and we forget that we're speaking in acronyms. So it's just important to actually say, I have no idea what you're talking about. Just put it in plain language, please. So yeah, no, it's cool. Definitely curious is one of the key pieces. But no, what about you, Lionnel? What was your experience?
I think you're right, Louise. You have to ask a question, for sure, but you also have to listen, to be really open-minded at the beginning, to really learn by listening, with active listening, to stay humble and stay open to new information, and to grab all this information. It could depend on your personality, but I think it's really important to listen and to look, to observe, to be able to quickly grab information. And you're right, the tricky part could be different. You have the acronym is part, the process, also the organization with the matrix in the matrix in the matrix, the project, and different kind of link, the tools, because you have a lot of tools, administrative tools for sure.
Love tools.
That was not the best part, no?
No, but it's a bit strange because we are currently in more and more digital everywhere. So it could be a real strength to around the digitalization. But currently, it's a mix and in between, in my point of view, because some part are really useful. Sometimes it's a mess with different kind of tool for each kind of. You have to fill a lot of information, but it's not always really clear which is doing what, and it's at project level, it's at administrative level, human resource level, and everywhere. So that's why the in addition of the welcome days, you also have we have a human resource day to present all the different tools or the different administrative part, and it's really key also to ease the onboarding, because if you're coming from school or from another company, you need to adjust everything, and you will lose some time. So you need to try to reduce this gap and to quickly be performant. At the end, it should be a reflex, and you don't have to think about it. But at the beginning, you think about everything, and sometimes you are using the wrong tool or not in the good menu and so on.
Yes,
and it's a bit tricky part. So I think, but it's not only in Thales, in other company also. Digitalization is not easy. It's really not easy to have only one tool to do everything, but this is not the case. You have a lot of tools, and you
That would
need
be
to figure
amazing.
out how to do that. Yes, for sure. But you are working on it, Louise, no?
Absolutely. Yeah. Utopia, that is. Yeah.
So yes, it's a very interesting topic, onboarding. For sure, it's like very technical, but why is it so important to have an onboarding process? Why is it important for candidates? Maybe Louise, you can answer to that. Because some companies, they don't have any onboarding process. You arrive in the office, you have your pen, you have your laptop, and that's all.
Good point. Well, to help them ultimately feel comfortable having joined Thales, so being comfortable with being part of the group and also being part of their team, and they're part of the organization. And we also know that having a smooth onboarding process, enabling the individuals to feel comfortable, understand tool systems, processes, getting to know and getting access to right people, ultimately making them feel more comfortable, also helps us to ultimately reduce attrition. So from a pure HR perspective, of course, we want to make sure that when we have someone join, that they remain with us, because we and the new starter have gone through a lengthy process discovering each other, sort of making sure it's a right fit. And we want to make that experience good from the first day. So ultimately that they remain with the organization. So there's a correlation between the onboarding process and people staying, particularly sort of within the first 12 to 18 months. So yeah, that's key for us.
They stay more in the company if they have a good onboarding process, and some, they could leave the company if they don't have a good one.
One of the reasons why people leave within the first 12 to 18 months is because ultimately they didn't have a great experience when they were onboarded and integrated into the organization, which creates dissatisfaction, or also maybe the individuals don't have the right experience in regards to being part of the organization. So a good onboarding process helps us to remove that barrier.
Nice. Lionnel, maybe you wanted to react?
There are two parts here. There is you need to be part of the big group to understand the big group if you want to have the feeling of apartness, or to be really included in this group. And for that, the onboarding is really key. You are not just part of a local team in a project. You are joining a big company, so you need to understand the perimeter of the company and why you are in this company. And the other important part of the onboarding process is also to fasten your ability to be fully efficient in your job. So for that, you need to have support and to be helped. So for me, it's also part of the onboarding process. The fact is, you need to feel at home in the company, and also to be efficient in your job.
Now I understand more the word comfortable that you talked about, like Louise at the beginning of the recording. Okay, very nice. So maybe my last question will be for the two of you. Because of course, Louise, you also were on board. I don't know when, but one day, what was your best experience what you will never forget in your life on your onboarding process?
Yeah, cool question. My onboarding experience, so I joined Thales 6 years ago at a site here in Sydney, which is a beautiful site in Sydney Harbour, actually.
Yeah,
And
I'm jealous.
yeah,
Definitely.
it was yeah, very beautiful because you see the harbour bridge and you see the ocean. And really the team made a huge effort to help me to immerse me into the activities of the site. So within the first 2 weeks, I understood the activities we do at the site and the importance of those activities, particularly for our customer. So ultimately, for me, it was learning about the site. It was learning about the customer needs, and what we provide to the customer. I felt very quickly that my job is important, has purpose to support the team, and ultimately a mission supporting the customer. So it was a really fantastic experience. And 6 years later, I'm still super happy to be part of the team. And yeah, have had some really great experiences and opportunities. So that was
Yeah.
for me absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I understood my job was important, and definitely it is, especially now. And Lionel, maybe you can share something you will never forget. No pressure, for sure.
No, I think in another onboarding in another company in my previous experience, the welcome days, I go through all the assets of the company. The company was building some satellites, and it was just amazing to see all the products delivered by the company. I was younger than today at this period.
You are still
and
young,
it was
Lionel.
just, yeah, thank you, Guillaume. But it was impressive. You were a little kid in this kind of big room with a satellite, and you're a bit proud to be, I'm here today. Wow, it's amazing. And it's part also of on the opening to see, look what we are producing. It's part of your job. Even if you're not working directly in that part, nevertheless, it's part of the company, and you are part of the company. So it's part of you also.
Yeah.
And it was really amazing. So it's also important to show what you are doing at the different level and what you are producing as a company to share that with everybody.
Well, I think it's a very nice conclusion, this last sentence especially. So very nice to talk with you, Louise and Lionnel, about onboarding. I hope you learned a lot. So it was very nice. Thanks a lot again.
Thank you so much. Great to connect with you.
Thank you, Louise. Thank you, Guillaume.
Thank you. Bye-bye. And say hello to Sydney for us, Louise.
Absolutely, will do.
Bye-bye. Thanks a lot.
Bye.
See you.
You've just listened to an episode of Say Hi to Your Career, the Thales podcast that helps you to succeed in your professional life. We hope you enjoyed the interview. If so, don't hesitate to subscribe so you don't miss the next one.